Do Christian nationalists self-identify in large part as Christian nationalists? Are they proud to be known as Christian nationalists? And if that's the case, is there a risk that a movement, in fact, grows into what I call it, a party, the moral majority, or the Tea Party, where more people are attracted because there's a form and a kind of a definition for who they are and what they want to accomplish?
Yeah, thanks. There are more folks thinking about Marjorie Taylor Greene or Andrew Torba who are openly embracing the label Christian nationalism and saying, I am a proud Christian nationalist, and even putting out, swag, t-shirts and stuff. But here's the thing about folks like that. They're actually misrepresenting what the movement is really about. They're associating it with a certain kind of patriotism and a religious viewpoint, and that's not what it is. It's a whole set of ideas, exclusionary ideas, and a political movement that's going after our rights. It's going after our healthcare. It's going after income, any efforts to promote income, to lessen income inequality, or to help people. It's going after public education. It's undermining elections. It's, again, going after the courts and forcing policies into our laws that are deeply unpopular. So, I think the tension to Christian nationalism provides a conundrum for a lot of these folks. You have some folks sort of embracing it and saying, yes, I'm a Christian nationalist. And then others are decrying Christian nationalism and saying, well, this is anti-Christian, or it doesn't represent my faith, or trying to sort of distance themselves from it. But what's really interesting about somebody like Marjorie Taylor Greene or, say, Lauren Boebert, it shows that the movement has tolerated a kind of extremism and actually cultivated an extremism, and that's always kind of astonishing and stark. But, just as important, if you look at where the real power of the movement is, it's, we don't hear a lot about, say, if you look at somebody like Kevin McCarthy refusing to, standing by Trump as he spreads the lie of the stolen election. That also is sort of lending support. That's sort of part of the political dysfunction that is part of this movement overall. This is a movement that is really seized control of one of our two major political parties, and there are very few politicians on the right who can succeed without conforming to their agenda in some critical ways.
I think the only thing I would add is that, having paid attention to some of the strategists and organizers of this movement, they argued, especially back in the 90s, that this movement would be more effective the less public it was, the less scrutiny it had. Ralph Reed used to talk about sort of going in as stealth, he used like Marine imagery, like, groups that go in undercover, and that the surprise factor essentially was part of what they were relying on. And so I do think that sunlight can be the best disinfectant if the knowledge that people have about what's really going on leads to committed action. So by itself, I don't think increased attention to Christian nationalism is going to do anything to stop it. But if people are able to organize based on this knowledge, I think it's important. And I will say, while the microphone is going, and since I already said that I'm part of the Poor People's Campaign, and you brought it up, the most concerted, broad-based effort I've seen to challenge religious nationalism in American public life is the Poor People's Campaign. It's been a national network committed to challenging Christian nationalism since 2018.
I just want to add that they find the Poor People's Campaign very threatening. I've seen presentations that have been put on in different movement circles about, who are their enemies, and they're always talking about the Southern Poverty Law Center and groups like that. But they also talk about the Poor People's Campaign and other, what they call fake Christians. The religious left, I think they save some of their poisonous words for those who dare to identify as Christians of a different sort. But I think that targeting shows that it really matters and it really does make a difference.